September 26, 1982. A grocery store is the last place 15-year-old Linda Straight is seen. She then disappears completely undetected. September 27, 1982. Linda's body is discovered down the shore in the Spokane River in Washington. Investigators confirm that she was strangled and raped. They also found a pillowcase with a layer of semen nearby. This pillowcase was preserved with the trace of these markings of semen. 1989, the pillowcase is submitted for DNA analysis, but the analysis is inconclusive. The technology was not advanced enough at the time. 1998. Pillowcase was retested. However, the DNA analysis technology was still not advanced enough to get conclusive results.
Today we will be talking about the case of Linda Straight, a young girl who was murdered and whose case was eventually solved by DNA evidence. This case is similar to those of Dawn Ashworth and Linda Mann, who were also murdered and had their cases solved by DNA evidence. This case began in 1983 when DNA analysis was in its younger stages. Even to 1998, the techniques for DNA analysis were too underdeveloped to get a conclusive result. DNA profiling for the mitochondrial DNA they isolated was still in its baby stages, only coming out a few years prior in 1996.
Forensic scientists isolate the DNA, then use PRC or polymerase chain reaction to make a copy of the DNA before setting it in a solution with restriction enzymes to cut out excess DNA so that only the introns and accessory parts remain. After this, gel electrophoresis is used to identify the different portions of the introns in the DNA. Newer methods such as the next generation sequencing or NGS is developing for mitochondrial DNA analysis, which is most likely what was used to help identify this case. After the DNA was processed, it was matched up with previous DNA samples from a database.
It had to be used because it was the one definitive piece of evidence that remained undetermined while all other sources were not convincing enough. Today, many cases like this are possible to solve, also making criminals far more cautious and hardier than before. However, there is political controversy over whether it is necessary to make DNA fingerprints public or to keep them as private information. In addition, there are some conflicts between people with different cultures, beliefs, and ethnicities. People may consider a new form of genetic discrimination based on the genes one possesses. According to the National Center for Biotechnology Information, people are skeptical about how others will react to each other based on what genetics they have and how they respond to these differences in their genetics.
Eventually, the case was solved in 2003 when Detective Tim Himes sends the semen to the private lab and finally gets conclusive matching results. The mitochondrial DNA matches the suspect, Dean Williams. Just as he is about to get paranoid and given some freedom, he is convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 20 years in prison, with his end sentence to be determined by the government. During his trial and questioning, Williams never explained the motives of his actions. He simply pleaded guilty, saying that he was tired of doing time. To the Raglins, after so much years of agonizing inconclusive results, even when the evidence was there, could not forgive him. In fact, Mrs. Ragland told him to rot in hell, to which he did not respond nor comment on, but acknowledged their inability to forgive him. No other viewpoints were expressed as the murderer openly admitted that he was guilty.